Continuing with the classification of the plant kingdom, if you remember, we had done algae, we did bryophytes, we did pteridophytes. Now I'm taking on the fourth one, that is angiosperms. This is a very small, simple topic, angiosperms. We did algae, we did bryophytes, we did pteridophytes. This is the fourth category I'm taking up, that is angiosperms. Very small, simple topic. See beta, what are angiosperms? Flower-bearing plants or seed-bearing plants are known as angiosperms. Is it okay? What are angiosperms? Simple way to remember, those plants which bear flowers or those plants which bear seeds. Seed-bearing plants or flower-bearing plants. They are known as angiosperms. If you compare them to gymnosperms, if you see, there the seeds. I have not done gymnosperms with you, so as of now let's not compare it. Let's do angiosperms. What are angiosperms? Flower-bearing plants or seed-bearing plants. They are large in number. Around 2,50,000 species have been reported so far. So large in number, almost 2,50,000 species have already been reported. Moving on to the habitat beta. You find them in a wide areas. The habitat range is very wide. You can find them on land. You can even find them somewhere at a height of about 6,000 meters in Himalayas. You can find them on land. Look at the variety, look at the diversity. They are found in land, or you could even find them somewhere at 6,000 meter height in Himalayas. You could find them in deserts. You could even find them under the ground in Antarctica or even in marine habitats. Just keep in mind how diverse they are. I am repeating the habitats: land, 6,000 meters in Himalayas, deserts, underground, Antarctica or even in the marine habitat. Let us talk about the plant body. It is a sporophyte. It may be herbs, shrubs, trees, climbers, creepers. See, again you see so many varieties that we have. They can be herbs, they can be shrubs, trees, climbers or even creepers. The smallest angiosperm is the water plant. Commonly this plant is called as the water plant. It is scientifically called as Wolffia. W-O-L-F-F-I-A, Wolffia. What is Wolffia? W-O-L-F-F-I-A, Wolffia or water plant. This is the smallest angiosperm. Moving on to the tallest angiosperm, it is Eucalyptus regnans. Eucalyptus, you know, R-E-G-N-A-N-S, regnans, R-E-G-N-A-N-S. This is the tallest species of angiosperm. It's around above 100 meters. The height goes even more than how much? 100 meters. Talking about the variety of size, it could be as small as the water plant, that is Wolffia, or it could be even more than 100 meters. I have given an example of Eucalyptus regnans. Coming to the root now, the roots are taproot kind of a system. However, some roots they develop from places other than the radicle. You've studied in your junior classes that radicle gives rise to roots and plumule it gives rise to their shoots. But sometimes what happens is that some roots, they do not arise from places, cells of the radicle. They arise from some other cells, not from the radical part. Such kind of roots are known as adventitious roots. What are these roots called as? They are known as adventitious roots. So what are adventitious roots? Roots which originate from a non-radical tissue or from a tissue which is not from the radical. Okay, some of them are normal. For example, strawberry, you have adventitious roots, they are very normal. Sometimes in some plants, these adventitious roots are actually a response to structures in adverse conditions. For example, there is a flood or there is a nutritional deficiency, then these kind of roots they develop. So we have adventitious roots also. Normally we have a taproot system, but in some plants you will find that there are adventitious roots. Now, stem of course develops from the plumule. Moving on to leaves beta. They have axillary buds which can grow into stem branches. The leaves of these plants, they have buds, and these buds can grow into stems, and of course they can be branched out later. Vascular tissues, they have both the vascular tissues, they have xylem also, they have phloem also. The phloem, it has both the seed tubes and the companion cells. It has both companion cells and the seed tubes. Now, classification of angiosperms. We have these people's name, I think you've done it earlier also. It's George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. They give a very detailed classification of angiosperms which you don't have to do in the school as of now. Just remember that on the basis of the number of cotyledons, we have divided the angiosperms into two categories, monocotyledonate and dicotyledonate. Look at the spelling, monocotyledonate. Monocot, you know the spelling, after monocot put a Y, it becomes monocoty, L-E-D-O-N-A-E, monocotyledonate. And dicoty, again write dicot, put a Y and then L-E-D-O-N-A-E, monocotyledonate and dicotyledonate. That's simple, monocotyledons and dicotyledons. Let's compare very fast what is the difference between both of them. Monocotyledons means one cotyledon and dicotyledons is two cotyledons. See, in monocotyledons, leaves generally have a parallel venation. What is parallel venation? If you can see on the board beta, I draw the leaf. See, this is your primary vein. The vein in the center, the single line in the center is your primary vein. If all the lines run parallel to this primary vein, all the lines run parallel to the primary vein, such a venation is what we call as a parallel venation. What is it called? This is called as a parallel venation. For example, if you want to see, you can very easily see it where in banana and in maize. You can see this very simply. In banana also you can see, in mango also you can see parallel venation. In dicotyledonous, the venation is reticulate. What is reticulate? All the veins on the leaf, they form a network. You know, haphazard network. Any leaf is going, any vein is going anywhere and they form a network. Such kind of a network venation is called reticulate venation. For example, you take the leaf of a rose or a tulsi plant. You can do it at home practically today. If you see banana leaf, you will see its parallel venation. If you see the leaf of a rose or a tulsi plant, it is reticulate venation. Please do it. See it today so that you understand the difference between both of them. Monocotyledonous leaves have parallel venation. Dicotyledonous leaves, they have reticulate venation. Monocotyledons, they have fibrous root system, but dicotyledonous, they have taproot system. In monocot, the stomata are dumbbell shaped. What is the shape of the stomata in monocots? They are dumbbell shaped, but in dicotyledonous, they are kidney shaped. In monocotyledon, vascular bundles are scattered. They are not arranged properly, they are scattered. But in dicotyledonous, the vascular bundles are arranged in rings. Is it okay? They are arranged in rings. Moving on to the next one, beta. The root has a pith at the center. In monocotyledonous, roots, they have a pith at the center. But in dicotyledonous, you will find that the pith is generally absent. Now what is pith? P-I-T-H, pith. The soft, spongy parenchyma cells which store nutrients in the roots, they are known as pith. What is pith? Soft, spongy parenchyma cells which store what? They store nutrients. Is it okay? Now, very fast, we have done with angiosperms. There is not much in angiosperms, I told you earlier also. Angiosperms are flower-bearing plants or seed-bearing plants. Now, the variety is too big. It's around 250,000 species already reported so far. If you talk about the habitat, it's a wide range. Land, even at 6,000 meters in Himalayas, deserts, you may find them underground, Antarctica or even in marine areas. If you talk about the plant body, it is a sporophyte. It may be herb, shrub, tree, climber or even creepers. The smallest angiosperm is Wolffia, that is a water plant, and the tallest angiosperm reported is Eucalyptus regnans, above 100 meters. Roots, we have taproot system. However, some roots, they develop from places other than the radicle. Such kinds of roots are known as adventitious roots. Leaves, they have axillary buds which can grow into stems. Vascular tissue, both xylem and phloem are present, and phloem will have both seed tubes as well as companion cells. Now, classification of angiosperms was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. On the basis of the number of cotyledons, we put them into two categories, monocotyledonate and dicotyledonate. We did the difference, one cotyledon, two cotyledons. Monocots have parallel venation, dicots have reticulate venation. Monocots have fibrous root system, dicots have taproot system. Monocots, the stomata are dumbbell shaped, but in dicots, the stomata are kidney shaped. In monocots, the vascular bundles are scattered. Vascular bundles, they are scattered, and in dicots, they are arranged in rings. And the last one, in monocots, the root has a pith at the center. I told you what is pith, soft spongy parenchyma cells which store nutrients. However, pith is generally absent when we talk about the dicotyledons. Thank you.